Another test subject. I got you. Picked the wrong test subject.
Into the wind.
Another test.
The wind knows me.
Picked the wrong test subject.
Let's roll! One with nature. The wind knows me. Fallen leaves adorn my night.
My duty at an end.
Stabilize! Bam!
Hard enough. The loneliness of death.
Let's roll! Time to go. Into the wind.
Gather.
strategy. Clouds high, the birds call, one with nature. The wind knows me.
The hunter becomes the hunted.
One with nature.
Solidify!
Oh, coming through! Attaboy! Attaboy!
Gather!
Advance! Bam!
Into the wind.
Solidify!
Fall in! I will have order. It's showtime! Let's roll! Ha! Tja! Tja! Attaboy!
Gather!
Charge! Rally! Oh, coming through! Let's roll! Yeah!
Right. Time. As one with wind and cloud.
Attaboy!
Stabilize!
Advance!
Time to go.
It's been a while since we first set foot on Inazuma. So many things have happened. Yeah, we've so... Huh? What's up? Hey! What the heck was that for? Doesn't want to talk, huh? All right, let's convince him to calm down a little.
Bam! Tja!
Huh? So you don't have a vision after all? Seems like I've mistaken you for someone else.
At the very least, you should make sure you've got the right person before you go attacking them. No, wait. Even when you've got the right person, you shouldn't go attacking them out of the blue. It's...
Have you ever met someone by the name of Kaedahara Kazuha? He carries a sword just like you. I've also heard that he possesses an animo vision. That's none of your business. Never mind. You don't look like you know anything anyway. I'm wasting my time.
What the heck is this guy's problem? Coming around here waving... Well, one thing's for sure. No way are we telling him anything, right? Paimon has a feeling, though. Anyway, just to be on the safe... Oh? What kind of a special connection? Yeah, anyway, there's no... Paimon heard that the Crux fleet is stocking up in Rito at the moment. Let's look for him there.
You're looking for Kazuha too, huh? Guess he must have done something impressive after... Well, we took the small vessels into Rito on a route... If it's because of that battle on Nizuchi Beach, Captain Beto had a great run there too, but I don't see her getting this kind of attention. Kazuha keeps to himself most of the time. In fact, there are times when he doesn't even listen to the captain, but she just laughs it off.
Oh, so...
I've heard bits and pieces. Something about him blocking the Raiden Shogun's Muso no Hitotachi. Is it really as big a deal as everyone's making it out to be? Really? Wow. When you put it like that, he was called away earlier by some people from the Tenryo I thought they'd come to arrest him at first.
Just a little while ago, this would have been... Thank you! Guess we'll go pay...
All right then. I'll just stay here.
Follow my lead.
Oh? It's you.
Greetings. We were just discussing the repealing of the Vision Hunt Decree. Since you're here, you're very welcome to listen in on the conversation. We invited Mr. Kaedahara here to extend a gesture of goodwill on behalf of the Shogunate. Your hard work has secured for us the agreeable state of affairs that we now enjoy. Also, I've been granted the chance to correct my clan's past mistakes, and for that, I'm deeply grateful. The Almighty Shogun has issued a large array of directives aimed at resolving, or at least easing, the tensions that have built up over the years. The Tri-Commission has made the recommendation to use this opportunity to restore the honor of the Kaedahara name. Regarding the history of the Kaedahara clan, I trust that you're already somewhat informed? In short, there was once a group of select bladesmiths who served the Shogun directly, responsible for upholding and further developing the traditional blade forging arts of the Almighty Shogun. The Kaedahara clan belonged to this class. But there came a time when some of these bladesmiths revolted and fled to Snezhnaya. Both the Kaedahara and Kamisato clans were held accountable for lax oversight and entered a period of great turmoil. We later learned that the whole misadventure had been secretly orchestrated by the Fatui. Attributing all of the blame to the Kamisato and Kaedahara clans was neither proper nor just. Considering Mr. Kaedahara has once more made an outstanding contribution to Inazuma, the Almighty Shogun believes he should not only be rewarded for his achievements, but also receive recompense for the excessive punishment borne by his clan in the past. In the interest of preventing further harassment of the Bladesmith clans by the Fatui, we chose not to publicly release the findings of our investigations into these matters. We trust you can understand why this was necessary.
This is a true honor. I am delighted to be in a position to receive the goodwill of the Almighty Shogun, and the Shogunate at large. However, would I be correct to assume that this magnanimous gesture does not come without some strings attached?
I can assure you that nothing could be further from the truth. We seek only to correct a past injustice. With the Kaedahara clan's reputation and occupation restored, the Kaedaharas will be bladesmiths once more, and your wanderings will finally come to an end. You will be able to lead a safe and prosperous life in Inazuma City with the almighty Shogun's blessing and full support of the Shogunate.
I have grown accustomed to life among the elements. I fear I would no longer feel at home behind the tall walls of a stately abode. Yet my ancestors did indeed take great pride in the name of Kaedahara, and the art of blade making for which it stood. I do have a responsibility to restore their honor.
I sense some hesitation in your words. Should you accept this offer, I imagine many of the malicious rumors currently circulating through the populace will disappear.
Malicious rumors? All we heard on the way here was so much praise that we almost wondered whether there was a...
Well, to some, the Muso no Hitotachi is something that can never be defeated. They cannot accept the idea that Mr. Kaedahara really parried the Shogun's strike. Also, eyewitnesses saw him using the power of Electro in addition to that of Animo. As a result, the falsehood that Kaedahara Kazuha was using a delusion began to spread.
What? But that doesn't make sense. Using a delusion turns you old and frail, and Kazuha still looks fine.
That is correct. However, to some people, the idea of a single person wielding two elements at once is a more inconceivable notion still.
This is just one of many similar rumors. I am very uncomfortable with being the subject of public discussion, no matter whether it brings suspicion or stardom my way. But perhaps if the Shogunate is willing to publicly support me, this situation will blow over more quickly.
This is precisely why I encourage you to give our offer some serious thought. It stands to benefit all of us.
Please allow me some time to consider. In fact, let us put this discussion on hold for the moment. Well then, what brings the two of you here?
Yikes! We nearly forgot about the most important thing!
Why would such a dangerous individual be looking for me? No, this puzzles me as much as it does you. My fighting forms were taught to me by my family, based on techniques originally developed for blade testing. We undergo rigorous training to standardize every motion the blade is put through, so that each can be fairly assessed for quality. Over time, these techniques came to form something of a Kaedahara sword art, focused on blade testing, but with a full repertoire of combat forms. Those forms are quite different from the more practical ones typically used by samurai in battle. So it's hard to imagine that the similarity you speak of was coincidence alone.
All the more reason to watch your back! This guy?
Indeed. He sounds highly aggressive. Anyone he targets is at risk of serious injury, or worse.
In that case, I will send some men out immediately to search for him.
Thank you. I must say I am now very curious about this matter, and I will also need some time to consider your offer. I will first join the Traveler in investigating the one who attacked him, then give you a conclusive answer upon my return.
Very well. Please stay safe.
Come on. Let's go and track down your aggressor.
The detective agency knows the most about what goes on in town. Let's see what Ryuji has to say. A quick... Do you know if anyone...
Aha! So this is the renowned Mr. Kaedahara. I've heard a lot about you. It is an honor to finally meet you today.
You are too kind. We are currently investigating an assault and would appreciate any help you can offer.
Oh? You were targeted in an assault? Let me think. I can't seem to recall anything of immediate interest. Mr. Kaidehara is currently the talk of the town, so there are always a lot of people looking for him. To be honest with you, our detective agency has recently been receiving many inquiries from people wishing to obtain Mr. Kaidehara's personal information. Some of them were offering us millions of mora just to gather the information they want. If these were more legitimate commissions, Sango would have snapped them up in an instant.
Millions? Of mora? Whoa! Oh, wait, even at that price, you probably still shouldn't.
Please, accept my thanks for looking out for my privacy.
Of course. No matter what, we only take on legitimate cases. We don't make our money by revealing details of other people's day-to-day life just for the sake of it. Sorry, I got a little off topic. What I'm really trying to say is, it doesn't surprise me that a complete stranger is looking for Mr. Kaedehara. But I wouldn't know where to begin if we want to connect this with an assault.
Then let's put that connection aside for now. Have there been any other attacks or similar incidents recently that stand out as particularly unusual? The Tenryou Commission had very few leads, and I thought you might have some information from different sources.
It's true that the commissioners aren't clued up about every little thing that goes on out in the streets. But typically, it's only the most trivial events that manage to escape their attention. If anyone had been out there attacking people, that would be assault, in which case the Tenryou Commission would absolutely get involved.
That does make sense. Uh-oh. Looks like the trail...
I still find it difficult to believe that whoever attacked you hasn't been causing any trouble elsewhere. Few people possess your prowess in battle. So unless you were the first person he targeted, someone is certain to have been hurt by now. I am well aware of your talents. There is no need to be humble around me. In fact, I'm quite relieved that you were the one he targeted. It would cause me great grief to see someone become critically injured or lose their life because of me. For the poor victim, this would be a completely senseless crime.
Don't worry, we'll find him.
It seems you are every bit the selfless hero they make you out to be, Mr. Kaedehara. Surely this same concern for your fellow man is what drove you to fearlessly raise your blade against the almighty Shogun.
You flatter me. Truth be told, I don't know quite what came over me in that moment.
You are much too humble. Don't worry, I completely understand your concerns. I will try my best to gather whatever leads I can for you. Oh, actually, there was one strange incident over the last few days. It doesn't involve an attack, though. Let me tell you about it just in case.
Sure. During times like this, the more information we have, the better.
All right then. Recently, 2 people went missing from the city at around the same time. One of them is a pretty well-known collector, surnamed Nagato. The other, Amenoma Yuya, is a samurai from the Amenoma clan.
Amenoma! Now there's a familiar name.
Right. Yuya is the nephew of Amenoma Togo, the owner of Amenoma Smithy. 2 grown men going missing at the same time. Their cases are likely... I recalled this because Amenoma Yuya is also an accomplice...
Understood. Though it seems highly unlikely to me.
Sure, can't hurt.
Thank you, Ryuji. We'll start by making some inquiries at the Amen...
Sounds good.
Ah, if it isn't Kaedehara Kazuha. What brings you here today?
Huh? You 2 know each other?
Yes. The Kaedehara and Amenoma clans were both members of the Raiden Gokaden. Historically, there have always been deep links between the 2 clans. After I returned to Inazuma, I visited Mr. Amenoma to pay my respects. Yes, you may recall the story of the Raiden Gokaden from the Iridori Festival.
Though all bladesmiths trace their craft back to the same source, Over time, each of us has arrived at a different blade-making philosophy, spawning the development of different branches of the same art. As an example, the Amenoma art strives to emulate the abiding patience and determination of water as it turns stone to sand. There is nothing mystical to our work. There is only practice, day in and day out, until both body and mind have memorized the craft, turning each motion of every technique into an intrinsic part of the bladesmith's life. As for the art of the Kaedehara clan, I believe it's called the Ishin art.
That's right. Ishin art strives for complete harmony between blade and mind from the moment that forging begins. For only a blade thus forged can capture and convey its maker's thoughts and feelings, and eventually become an extension of its wielder's will.
Indeed. Most samurai choose their blades, but an Ishin blade chooses its owner. You are, without a doubt, the most worthy wielder of an Ishin blade. It gladdens my heart to see that although the Kaedehara clan has fallen on hard times, its ideals and virtues are alive and well.
You overestimate me. My actions are guided by my own personal sentiments, not by any noble aspirations on behalf of my clan. But let's get back on topic. The purpose of our visit today is to gather some information on your missing nephew. We hope to assist with the investigation. It may turn out that this case is connected to another we are pursuing.
Ah, yes. My nephew. I reported the case to the Tenryou Commission, but I haven't heard anything back so far. He didn't say a word before he left, which is very unlike him. I'm still completely at a loss on what to make of it, but I've done what I can so far. Worrying is futile. All I can do now is wait for the news from the Tenryou Commission.
We heard that there was a collector involved in the disappearance too.
Yes. On the morning that Yuya went missing, he gave me a very cryptic look and said that he was going to give me a great gift. I believe he went to collect the item from Mr. Nagato after that. Yes. Strange, isn't it? I wonder what could have caused it. Unfortunately, there was very little evidence left behind.
Do you have any thoughts on what Yuya may have wanted to give you?
If I had to guess, he's never been particularly... He is extraordinary.
Truth be told, we have some information that you may find to be objectionable. The person we are looking for, he attacked this friend of mine. Based on the evidence we have gathered so far, only Yuya seems to match the suspect's profile.
What? No. He is humble and kind.
Is that so?
Yes. If there's one thing I can say for certain, it's that Yuya would never draw his blade without a very good reason. But, with that said, it's equally out of character for him to just disappear. I also cannot know what course of action he might be capable of if Anyway, should you find him...
Don't worry. You have our word.
From the sound of that, Paimon doesn't...
Yes. It sounds as if something happened when... Let's pay a visit to the Naga...
Follow my lead.
I'm very sorry, but we cannot afford to pay what we owe right now. My husband has gone missing, and I'm still trying to find him.
No, you misunderstand us. We are here to help with the investigation. We'd like to ask you some questions about Mr. Nagato's disappearance, if we may.
Ah, I see. I thought the debt collectors had come to visit again. I'm sorry you have to see me in this dreadful state. Has some new information come out? Do you know where he's gone?
I'm afraid we don't have any new info. With this in mind, can we perhaps ask some...
For example...
He'd always get so animated. Everything was fine when we first...
Uh-oh.
He lost his sense of restraint. Our expenses really spiraled out of control when he started getting interested in weapons. It was awful. There were days when he'd spend hours down at the warehouse, admiring his weapons, even his debt collector. He wouldn't sell them, wouldn't even touch them. I'm happy he has a hobby, and I'm willing to support him. On the last day that I saw him...
Whoa!
And that led to a...
Actually, it didn't. You must understand, after I said those words, he froze and was silent for a long time. His voice was so meek and pitiful that I felt an urge to take everything back. But then what? If I didn't draw the line, what would happen had I not indulged it? And I also don't... The next thing I heard was that our warehouse had...
I see. Aminoma Yuya came to purchase a weapon from Mr.
At first, I assumed, but my husband has never been one to negotiate. He never even haggles when he's out buying groceries, so... I don't know. Perhaps he's too afraid to come home, now that all his... Even though, as long as he's willing to turn over...
Please don't get upset. If collecting things is... But the information we gathered from the others...
A little confused?
Let's try a change of scenery. Rest assured, we'll...
Thank you
Based on the information we've gathered so far, I can only surmise that the fire at the warehouse likely... Do you have any...
Nope, never mind. Paimon's brain needs to rest for a while. Over to you.
An interesting explanation. Aminoma Yuya, maybe he recognized they thought a fire would... But it's one fact that I keep... Mr. Nagato, the more I ponder it, the more... Right. Aminoma Yuya...
Darn!
Let's keep going. Since if we can solve the case, both Mr. Aminoma and Mrs.
Okay.
Let's head out of the city and check... Wait. I hear something ominous in the wind.
Oh! This must be another one of those, as sketchy as that whole thing seems. You did put it...
Now I'm picking up a strong scent in addition to the sound.
But there's nothing here.
It's gone now, but I can still sense the direction it left in. It felt very much like that ancient presence in Inazuma. Indeed. But we should remain vigilant.
Huh. So it's an
The force is definitely coming from down... The source of the Tatarigami energy has long since left. Judging from the concentration, I would have to conclude that the Tatarigami source resided here for a very long time.
Mrs. Nagato said her...
It could well be that he was already... From what I've been told, but most will develop us. Mr. Nagato had an interest in collecting to begin with.
So what...
Step back. I'll open the door and take a look If we don't open this door, we can move You needn't worry. Both of us have faced far greater dangers than this.
What's down there?
Everything's buried in debris. I can't see anything. It looks like the fire caused a cave-in, reducing the entire warehouse to rubble.
That was too scary.
All we can do now is keep two ordinary humans, entangled with the Tatarigami. Yes, let's go. Quiet your mind, and... From this point, the trail appears to split into two. The main source of the Tatarigami energy continued on into the distance, but a small portion remained here.
Whoa! Look at all those hilly churls! They're acting really strangely.
Something seems to be drawing their attention. Let's take a closer look. Clouds high, the birds call. One with nature. It's...
Ugh!
By the looks of it, a letter. Well, let's... According to this letter, a conflict arose. Yuya started the fire that destroyed the warehouse and wounded...
So...
He was not only mortal, whatever traces there may have been of his fate be... Yes. Right now, if Amenoma Yuya...
Right! So let's get moving!
I wouldn't be surprised if he, too, fell prey to... For a practitioner of the martial art, all the clues that at first seemed disparate, and... I have a hypothesis that, if it's correct...
Wait! You figured it out?
I believe so. But it's something of an outlandish idea. On with the search. He seems to have stayed here for a long time.
Why here?
I'm not sure. Show yourself!
Kaedehara Kazuha. It's you, at last.
Aha! So it is the same guy from before! What's your problem, huh?
Indeed, there should be no enmity between us. If it is Amenoma Yuya, that's... But what if instead of facing Amenoma Yuya, we are in fact facing the blade in his hand?
Now that you mention it, it is giving off a strange light. Whoa, whoa! Surely...
Tatarigami energy often lodges itself within physical objects, then works to subtly affect any living... The blade has resided in Mr. Nagato's warehouse for many years, affecting his state of mind, and more recently using the sale as a means to affect, or rather as a means to occupy, Amenoma Yuya's body.
You're sharper than I thought. You've already deduced the truth of the matter. Many, many years ago, I was forged by a famed bladesmith of the Ishin tradition. I was his pride and joy. In me, he placed all his hopes and dreams. As a descendant of the Kaedehara clan, you should be able to guess our greatest regret.
I presume it has something to do with the Raiden Gokaden.
Indeed. At that point in time, he failed to live up to the Raiden Shogun's expectations. In the end, all he could do was to flee the nation by sea on a ship bound for Snezhnaya. He was a bladesmith of great renown, a master of his craft. There was nothing that he could not accomplish. All he needed was more time and a little faith. And sure enough, in the end, he achieved what he had set out to do. All of his life's work, his wisdom, his skill, it culminated in his creation of me. He not only bestowed upon me the greatest of strength, but also endowed me with a consciousness of my own. In her conceit, the Raiden Shogun lost not only the single most perfect blade in the entire world, but also an irreplaceable achievement in the art of blade forging.
So... swords can become
The people of the time in which I was born never believed I had that kind of power. They saw me as a mere blade. After the death of my creator, I decided to leave Snezhnaya and began my long quest to return to the distant land of Inazuma. Moving from one person to the next, I controlled the minds of countless hosts along the way, each bringing me one step closer to I seek but one thing. To face the full force of the Raiden Shogun's blade and prove my power. The might of Ishin art!
So Amenome Yuya was not your first victim. Tell me, what happens to those you've possessed when you've finished using them?
My hosts? Who cares what happens to them? They are but tools that serve my mission. When they got tired, or injured, or unusable, I hopped to the next one in line. All I needed them for was to take me back to Inazuma.
You're awful.
After I returned to Inazuma, I decided to bide my time in Nagato's warehouse at long last. I'm approaching my journey's destination. By Amenome Yuya's body, I have found you. And by your hand, I shall defeat the Raiden Shogun! Kaede Harakazuha, you stood against the Raiden Shogun's Muso no Hitotachi. There can be no other to serve as my host for what is to come. Now, give your body over to me!
The wind knows me.
We shall rewrite history!
Into the wind! One with nature!
Me! We shall rewrite history!
The wind knows me. Fallen leaves, adorn my night! It's fine.
Submit to me! Join me and suffer that divine light! We shall rewrite history!
Really?
Submit to me!
One with...
Do not stand in my way, or I will strike you down too!
Your bluff's fooling no one. You've lost.
Lost? I can never lose. It is this body that has reached its limit, nothing more. Even if you defeat me here, the one who falls will not be me, but this man. He is but a puppet that can be the end result is the same! I will end this wretch's life, and even if I were to lose by any means necessary...
Your fighting style. It is indeed the forms of Ishin art. But from your movements, I sense only hatred and arrogance, as well as a thinly veiled mania and despair.
Really? You can tell all that just...
As I've mentioned before, the forms of Ishin art convey the user's thoughts and feelings. Since the blade is currently possessing Amenome Yuya's body, its movements express the innermost thoughts of the blade. If you ask me, the mania is probably due to your desperate single...
Are you trying to claim that I am helpless without you? On his deathbed, he passed to me all of Ishin art's secrets. The little that you know, Bear. In that regard, why would I ever need your help?
Because all of that is in the past. I've been wondering why you've not caused more trouble in all the years that you've been in Inazuma. If you are indeed a cursed blade that can possess its owner. Now that I've seen inside your mind, everything finally makes sense. You weren't biding your time. You were trapped. After all the time that's passed, you have grown weak. To the point that you are now unable to acquire a new host without making physical contact.
Oh, that's right. Paimon remembers now. Mr. Nagato had a habit of never
Only when Mr. Nagato witnessed his wife's distress and decided to sell his
And what?
Well, that brings me to my second point. You were determined to fulfill your maker's ambition, whatever the cost. But this ambition, I think you realized your limitations long ago. The more you clenched your teeth and pressed forward, the greater your fear of losing everything you had achieved grew. But the way I see it, what began as an ambition has long since become a delusional fantasy.
What would you know about any of this? I'm just one step away from achieving my goal!
You returned to Inazuma to prove the unparalleled brilliance of Ishin art. But to make this arduous journey, you committed countless atrocities and showed a blatant disregard for human life. Even if you were to sever that divine light, is this truly the outcome that your maker would have desired?
You...
Sure, you inherited the secrets of Ishin art. But even as you made your journey to honor this legacy, you treated the ones who wielded you as mere tools to do your bidding. How could you possibly unleash the full potential of Ishin art when you act in perfect discordance with the principle of harmony between a blade and its bearer?
Silence, you blabbering fool! I must achieve my goal. This was his life's dream, and the very purpose for which I was brought into being. I will concede that you are most perceptive. You see my predicament clearly. But you also underestimate my resolve.
And you should face reality.
Easy for you to say. Facing reality offers me nothing. I have no need of anything that would stand in my way. Not hesitation, not self-reflection, and certainly not your so-called reality. It is pointless to argue further, descendant of the Kaedahara clan. If you wish to save this man, then offer me your body in exchange.
How stubbornly you stick to your wayward path. I do not believe for a second that you can challenge the almighty Shogun in your current state. So let us make a bet, and I will put your strength to the test.
What? Surely you're not planning to agree to his demands.
Very well. Then find yourself some enemies with whom you wish to cross blades. A taste of my power will more than convince you. Once we have dealt with them, we shall proceed to Tenshukaku.
And as for your end of the bargain, if you lose, you must release Amenoma Yuya from your control.
I accept.
Don't do this, Kazuha!
This is the only way to save Amenoma Yuya. If we don't do this, he'll forever be the Blade's puppet. The Cursed Blade's strength is currently very weak, and I sense he's hesitating. This suggests his heart is still not completely devoid of honor. The power of the Tatarigami lies in intensifying existing obsessions. This is the reason Mr. Nagato and Amenoma Yuya fell prey to it. Since I don't have any similar kinds of obsessions, I should be able to put up some resistance for a while.
But even so...
Even if things take a turn for the worse, I still have you both here with me. We have a chance here to save an innocent victim. I am willing to accept the risks entailed.
Your disdain for me betrays your woeful ignorance. I agreed to this bet because there are things I wish to learn too. Now, take me in your hand.
Kazuha?
I'm okay. I felt a little dizzy at first, but only for a moment. It's all right. So far, this was as I expected. I will.
What should we do next? Have you...
We find some enemies. Although this blade has endured much turmoil, it probably... If a blade built for Ishin art cannot enter... If he wants to avoid reality, then we need to fight until he has no choice but to face it.
Wait a minute! Paimon remembers hearing about... Since the Takasukasa clan abandoned that...
All right.
What about
The blade says he'll let Amenoma Yuya trail us silently. Although...
Are we sure this is a good idea? Okay, fine.
Time to go. Leave everything on this journey to me.
It's my lucky day.
The wind knows me. Into the wind. One with nature.
Let's get down to business.
As one with wind and cloud. Into the wind.
Hi, Barry. Come on. Finally, No.
How are you feeling?
I'm all right. The blade is performing largely as I expected. Having gone so long without proper use and maintenance, it's become very difficult to use. Though he's making every effort to persevere, I do not think he can last much longer.
Something else on your mind?
How strange. Rather than trying to control me, let's keep going.
Let's get down to business. Boom! See no more!
The wind knows me.
Boom! How's this? Barry? Finally, it's my lucky day.
Into the wind. Clouds high. The birds call. The wind knows me.
Whoa! Something's up with the blade!
I can sense that his strength is slowly fading away. The blade is becoming more... He cannot hold out much longer. If he keeps persisting, he will likely break apart at any...
But what would that do to...
I will be careful with it. He's still trying to achieve his goal. with nature. The wind knows me.
Take this!
That hurt! Into the wind. Fallen leaves, adorn my night! The wind knows me.
This
Are you okay? It looked like you were really struggling.
Yes. And it looks like
The sheen's grown a bit dimmer.
perhaps this time we'll finally have a...
True form? What are you? Is this the same blade as before? It looks like a piece of junk.
If you choose to continue in the state you're in, you wouldn't even be able to beat Samurai and Kaira. Maybe you did truly wield power to rival the Shogun's light when first forged. But the long journey from Snezhnaya back to Inazuma has left it barely needs stating anymore. Your ambition is a flight of fancy. I finally figured out why it was that you agreed to my bet. You wanted to reach a state of... But regrettably, we are nothing alike. The only one who truly understood you at all...
Here they are! Take them down!
Where do they keep coming? Yup. We can help this time.
Don't worry. I'll use my own blade. It's just more of the same.
It's my lucky day!
One with nature. Into the wind. As one with wind and cloud. The wind knows
You fought way better with your own sword.
You are a true Kaedehara in flesh and in spirit. No one knew anything of my story throughout my travels. I thought that if I could...
But in this too, you have failed.
Indeed. Too much time has passed. My physical state is... Yours is the blade that took on the...
Actually, the forging and maintenance are both important for a blade. This blade has traveled the land with me for many... Skill, blade, determination, and desire. All these must be aligned in the practice. There is something else I must tell you. Though your maker may not have Tatarigami as a malevolence from the ancient... Though you tried to cooperate with me while I was wielding you, the part of you driven by Tatarigami was...
I sensed it, but I couldn't change it. It is an integral part of my consciousness.
I resisted its temptations because I wanted to save Amenoma Yuya. But I do not know whether you yourself have any intention of trying to fight it. I feel a great sense of regret for you. Since you embarked on a journey bound for a destination you were destined never to reach. The moment you embarked on this journey, you lost the only person who could have ever unleashed your true potential. And yet there was no way for you to turn your back on his ambition. You have known this for a long time. It is the true source of your despair.
He gave me everything. My life, my form, my consciousness, and purpose. How could I possibly deny him his wish? I said to him, "Do not worry. From here on, I shall forge your legacy." How could I go back on my word?
Aww.
I believe our bet is now settled. I have nothing further to say.
Where are you going, Kazuha?
He now has neither the ability nor the motivation to cause further harm. Let's give him some time to reflect on things. When I touched the hilt for the first time, it's as if I was transported to a strange dimension. A bladesmith lay quietly on the bed, his frail face barely visible under the moonlight. His breaths were weak, and his life near its end. A newly forged blade lay by his side, listening attentively to his final words.
Wow. That was the Blade's memory, wasn't it?
Indeed. While in exile in Snezhnaya, the bladesmith eventually learned the truth behind everything that had happened. The Ishin art had been dealt a devastating blow by the desertion of its best smiths. He spent the rest of his life in the forge, not to vent his frustration and hatred, but to atone for his actions. He felt intense regret at being tricked by the Fatui, but he could never again return to his homeland. His sole wish was to one day return his single, proudest creation back to the land of his birth. So he instructed this sentient blade to find a way back to Inazuma, no matter how long or how hard the journey. But he never wished to rival the gods. All he wanted to show was that they once shone brilliantly as blade and...
So that's the truth. But after that...
Right. This blade has committed unforgivable atrocities. Yes, time would not wait or stop. He seems to have calmed down, though.
When I look back at the past, I can remember the day of I once told him that I would pay any price to fulfill his wishes, but darkness. Not only did I fail to fulfill it,
You are finally seeing reality.
since we agreed to the terms of the but I still cannot bring myself to forsake his ambition. It is the entire purpose. So, may I ask you to help me fulfill the ambitions of myself?
Hey! Now you're adding yours into the mix!
It has to be done in this order. At least hear what I have to say. And if you don't agree, I will still release my physical form as well as the knowledge I possess.
His attitude has grown. What do you think, Kazuha?
Let's hear it.
Thank you all. When I was first forged, my maker was already terminally ill. He told me that he had wanted me to have the... Alas, after that, nor have I ever had the... My fights were devoid of any... You are a fine warrior. I would like to request your hand in battle and experience a true duel between samurai.
Oh? And who would be the opponent?
I will release Ame no Mayuya and restore his consciousness. Perhaps after that, you must have plenty of reasons to both hate me and desire a good fight.
Understood.
I see. He used my body to inflict harm on others. I utterly despise him and his actions. But since he stayed true to your agreement by releasing me, he must still have some remaining semblance of honor. If a duel can help to set this state of affairs in order, I am willing. I do not wish to be a mere victim in this story.
There's no need to worry. We'll vouch for your innocence to the
Thanks for your help.
All right, then let's move on. More Ronin could appear at any moment. We can't stay here. In any case, for a final duel, I think we should aim for a greater sense of ceremony.
This reminds Paimon a bit of the Yep, we still can't still. Are you ready?
Ready? Okay. All right then. Successor of Ishin art, Kaedahara Kazuha.
Successor of Amenoma art, Amenome Yuya.
Honored to cross blades with you.
It is my honor also.
One with nature. The wind knows me. One with nature. Clouds high, the birds call. Into the wind. The wind knows me. Into the wind.
Thank you for the experience. Although he appears battered and broken, in your head, his sense of savage cruelty.
You also fought well. There are a few things that I shall leave him to.
I must apologize to you for all.
You need not seek my forgiveness. Nor do I have the right to forgive you on your victim's behalf. It is too late.
I do not wish for forgiveness. I only hope that you will see my transgression. I strayed far from the straight, and I beseech you, please understand this.
Yes. I too trust Mr. Kaedahara to do the right thing.
Thank you, successor of Amenoma art.
This blade has also told me that he has another wish. He would like to visit the Amenoma smithy. Maybe we can go back there together.
What does he want?
I'm not sure.
It's you!
I am sorry to have troubled you. It's all thanks to them.
A prized Ishin blade, turned weapon that controls the human mind. Considering their forging philosophy, this was indeed within the realm of possibility. But I have some good news as well.
Really?
Yes. Badly wounded, but he will live. And now that Yuya is back...
I think I know what you want to do.
What's wrong, Kazuha? Is the blade whispering in your ear again?
Yes. He said he wants to take control of me for a brief moment.
What? No way! Hasn't it learned its lesson?
He tells me that he's thought of another way to fulfill his maker's wish. And he assures me that he won't use my body for anything nefarious. I have decided to let him do it.
But... Guess there's nothing we can say to change your mind, huh?
Thank you. I will explain my reasons later. Okay. I am ready. Let us begin. Please, stay true to your promise.
My power is almost spent. Without him, my eventual demise is inevitable. But if I abandon the future to give everything I have in this moment, my physical form can be forged anew.
Everything. You mean...
Yes, the cost is my entire consciousness. You were right. There's nothing that I can accomplish now. But there's still a chance for Ishin art. Once remade, I will be a valuable resource for your studies. Ishin lives on, and its finest hour is yet to come. Even if I am not the one to prove its might to the Shogun, as long as it is an Ishin blade, crafted by Kaedehara hands, it will still fulfill his final wish. Thank you, son of the Kaedehara clan. Over the years, my real name has been forgotten by all. I'm ashamed to utter it, yet it remains strong in my mind. Kagotsurube Ishin. This name is now yours to keep.
Rest in peace.
So, that's why he said it had to be done in that order. His consciousness will disappear forever after fulfilling the bladesmith's wish.
Kagotsurube Ishin. It was the first time I ever heard his name. It seems like deep down he disapproved of his own actions, and thus chose to bury this name deep within his heart. Only in the final moments, before his consciousness faded, was he willing to entrust it to another.
Seems like he really, really wanted to fulfill his maker's wish.
The same fervent ambition that gave him the motivation to keep going forward also fueled the stubborn determination that blinded him to the path ahead. Speaking for myself, I'd rather see him recognize and atone for his mistakes than see him punished for them. I understand. Perhaps this is a flaw in my personality. I've always been captivated by grand aspirations. Hearing his wish to rival the divine light touched something inside of me, just as the sight of those who fought to repeal the Vision Hunt decree did. Your quest to face the gods and trace your sibling inspires me in the same way. After everything I've seen, perhaps these pursuits fascinate me a little more than they should.
Oh, Kazuha.
I will continue to support you from this point on. Know that you will have my assistance whenever you need it.
Wait, shouldn't we also go...
Oh, you're right. And it's also time to give...
You've returned. The Tenryou Commission is already...
Wow, you sure kept...
Then we needn't recount all the details again. Now, as to your earlier offer, I wish to give you my answer. Please, take a look at this blade.
What's this?
Kagotsurube Ishin. A weapon crafted using a long-lost blade forging art of the Kaedehara clan. By means of a series of fortuitous events, I was able to recover and restore him. I also promised him that I will continue to study and pass on the secrets of Ishin art. And so, it looks like I will likely continue with my journey across the nations, learning more about this blade as I go.
I see. I understand.
The Kaedahara clan has always been a family of bladesmiths, so it is only proper for me to continue on this path. Were I to accept your goodwill, I may find myself embroiled in conflicts between the shogunate and Sangonomiya. That would not suit me.
You misunderstand. That was most certainly not our intent.
I am aware, but I still desire to continue walking my own path.
Very well. I can understand. Then let's pretend this offer was never raised. However, if you should ever change your mind or find yourself in need of the Shogunate's assistance, please do not hesitate to inform me.
Great. Thank you for your generosity.
Where will you travel to next, Kazuha?
I'll probably take to the seas with Captain Beto again for now. As for my next destination, let's see where the wind takes me.